Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here, back at it again. This time we're going to be talking about the best and worst game experience stories. If you have a story you'd like to share, maybe a good, maybe a little bad, maybe a little bit of both, put it down in the comments below. I'll start with a really bad one. GM flaky for months, so we haven't played with him for about 6 months. I drive 4 hours at 4 a.m. after a family matter to get to one session he finally managed to schedule, intending to finish the campaign. GM never actually told anyone that in those 6 months he'd moved, so I find out from the fucking resident of his old place. Oh my god, ew. Oh, that's awkward. I call him just trying to get his new address and he takes forever to understand because he's kinda drunk and not even listening. He wanted to mix 2 of his parties and bring back old campaign characters at the very end, so there's like 14 players in total whom none of my group have ever met. A handful of people are there just to drink and aren't even playing. GM quickly ham-fists an unengaging reason for the parties to meet and merge. Flash forward to a bridge battle with the big bad evil guy army, and he puts some mobs in front of us before we can fight him. Long, tedious, not really hard, but really boring mob fights nobody is into because their turns are like an hour between each other and, well, over half of them are drunk or on drugs. When we finally actually get to fight the big bad evil guy, it's been going on so long that the GM literally just decides to skip it a round or 2 in and say we won. Rolls some D6s, odds or evens to decide the fate of the NPCs in the battle, and gives some half-hearted vague statements about what happens to us and them after. Honestly, the whole experience was outright uncomfortable. Most of my group stopped talking to the GM. We still play together, thankfully, but holy f*** did I learn so many things not to do, and what kind of people I never want to game with. Yeah, that sounded like a mess from the very beginning. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Worst. GM says he is doing a serious, gritty campaign. I wasn't old enough to know this is a massive red flag. We start at a prison with no direction, so, as any players do, we imagined the objective was escaping. Every time I tried to do anything, we got shut down immediately, and the characters tortured. That's terrible. After some time, we just gave up and waited for the session to end. Got tortured in the same way. This dude would describe the tortures in really specific and drawn-out ways. Realize that it's just a magical realm, so we never appear for the second session. GM complains and starts threatening us to play until we just cut him off our friend group completely. Yeah, that guy, given the fact that you said you were too young to know better, I'm assuming this person just had a really serious power trip and should be on the FBI's most wanted list. DM asks for feedback on our campaign so far. This can't end well. I give him honest but gentle feedback. He ditches the entire game, doesn't run anything for a gap of 4 years. Oh my god. Blames us for not enjoying it when we talk about wanting to do a different system, the one he was running it in. He used to be fun. Oh, I've got a good one. Basically knew this guy for a while and knew he GM'd. I always did online stuff, but one day he invited me to join his IRL group, a 3.5 D&D game, but in his own homebrew world. Now, I am open to new experiences and think maybe this will be cool, so I take up his offer. He says it's basically normal fantasy, so I go in blind as an ignorant country bumpkin type character since I figure I can learn as I go. Then, I go into the game and proceed to feel like I spent the last few hours in a Twilight Zone. Everyone but me talked in the most nonsensical slang I have ever heard. Can you imagine what it felt like to come here with a basic character and no idea what to expect and have the quest giver named Bo Chiggles Brunt? What the hell? What? Tell me with a straight face and the most overdone English accent ever that "I don't blow chums with some fat weppies. I've been brew stirring up some the street domain. Go scissorise it or go righto quick." What the hell did I just read? Which apparently means a pair of ogres with enchanted weapons were attacking the town. In what language and universe? While doing the aforementioned nonsense slang, everyone would make these exaggerated facial expressions, contorting themselves like cartoon characters with smiling, scowling, etc. All played completely straight. I did that when recording this. When I asked why, I was told this was how they always roleplayed. Apparently, they've been doing this since they were kids and have never really interacted online or with other groups. They didn't do anything overtly weird or creepy, but I cannot stress how surreal it was to be at the table with what felt like these inhuman caricatures of human beings, speaking borderline nonsense, just barely comprehensible enough to sometimes be understood. It wasn't just me being a no-fun guy. It was like I'd walked into Crazy Town, and they stared at me like I was the weird one when I didn't do the same thing. I ended up making some stuff up about IRL obligations keeping me from playing again, but honestly, it was the most uncanny valley thing I've ever experienced. Oh my god, this one is kind of weird because on one hand it sounds creepy as hell, but on the other hand, the fact that this DM and group had made up their own slang for the world and their own way of playing out of character interactions is kind of interesting at the same time. First session, playing as a child druid halfling. Really goofy character, everything is taken as a joke. And he is never serious. Exploring the city, going to the library to learn about druidic entities in the region. Meeting with other druids, other child halflings. My character loves to write. Name was here. Genuinely enjoying the character. By the end of the session, we are locked in another dimension after entering the portal. That was a painting this uncrowned king created for his wife. We get the news that we have 15 years to kill God because there's a demon or some shit that is threatening to destroy the universe. Yeah, f this shit, I'm out. It was 7 years ago. I don't remember much, but I'm told to create a character using some mobile app. Know nothing about the rules, have no role-playing experience. The day of my first D&D session comes. First battle with a bunch of goblins starts. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. Nobody explains shit. We win the battle, but I die during the fight. I think the goblins not only knocked me out, but even finished me off. DM says, well, you found a treasure chest, but since one of you is dead, let's imagine there's a revival potion there and nothing else. Okay, that seems fair. Back then I didn't know it was fucking stupid. The next session we are in a city. Everyone goes through their own business. The night goes by. DM says, you all wake up except player 1 and player 2. You are dead. As if it's some kind of fucking werewolf game. Also, you, player 3, and you, Anon, would have died if you did X. Okay, whatever, seems fair. Nobody was really ready to die, so we just continue playing as if nothing happened. Back then, I didn't even know how stupid it was. Oh, also the DM's name in the social networks was literally Dungeon Master. Oh my. I had one wild experience one night for a game, and it's perhaps the most ridiculous thing that has ever happened in my 10 years of gaming experience. B-Fighter. Other guy was a cleric. Another guy was a rogue caught by the guards, tasked to raid the Thieves Guild. Went into a bar to apprehend the thieves. She double-crossed us, and we walked into an ambush. Went straight to the Thieves Guild to warn her gang. Well, I passed the check to see where she went. The cleric and I killed everyone. Called in the guards to surround the real location. Cleric likes making potions and has some acid flasks for use. FBI, open up! Pop, 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 pop. Threw all 3 flasks he had. Missed all 3. The rogue cast grease onto the front door, hoping to make an opening for their escape. Well, guess what? It didn't. One thief ran through the window. Fails athletics, acrobatics check. Falls flat on his face in front of the guards. He's got like a cartoon character. One succeeds and tries to book it to the back door. One climbs the chimney very slowly while hoping to escape. Is that a reverse Santa? Rogue went through the back door as well. The guildmaster stays on, fight us who was supposed to run away. 2 ogre bodyguards were there to fight. The civilians go to the corners to hide because somebody blocked the front door with grease. The cleric casts heat metal on my arrows. Shoot while occasionally missing. Half the hideout bar was on fire and filled with acid. Killed one ogre and the guildmaster who nearly killed both of us. The DM forgot about the other ogre bodyguard and assumed he's just dead inside. Rogue, desperate for escape and is also dead inside, jumped down a balcony to a hard landing. Jumped down to chase her. Failed check and nearly broke my legs. Cleric casts hold person. Job well done. Sweetie, we got that booty. Online game. Yes, I know. First mistake, but I live in the middle of bump nowhere. That's not a mistake. It's a great thing. Play online. Session 3. Save or die weapons on every single mook. We spent an entire hour explaining to him why this was a bad idea and not particularly fun for any of us. He responds to this with a 5-minute-long temper tantrum about how they weren't really save or die weapons and ends it with, and I quote, "Well, if I'm doing such a bad job at it, why aren't any of you lazy bastards GMing?" He then kicks us all out of the server. 2 of the 3 other players are GMing their own campaigns now. I'm working on starting one myself, and he doesn't have a game as far as I know. He also had this really weird philosophy surrounding player participation that was something along the lines of, any given player shouldn't expect to have something to do in any given session, rather than say, players should be creative if they want to have something to do during a session. He literally told one of the other players, "You're so entitled, why would you expect to have something to do every session?" I mean... I was only there for one session, but there's a few things I remember. Instead of donkeys or mules, the pack animals were huge pigs called Heffenhams, which I actually managed to get, I think, hefting plus hams. Or maybe heffing is just some nonsense gibberish. The main villain of the setting, only referenced by the PCs, is named Bippity Zam, or Tam, I forget, the wickedest man, which, if I understood correctly, actually ate babies and did a bunch of actually evil shit. But it was hard to understand given I failed to parse every other word. We journeyed through a sewer called Klogenheim and fought Grungy Grumbles, which were like rat troll people, I think? ? It was years ago, so my memories aren't that clear. I mostly remember them going really wild on the facial expressions while they continued to glance at me, as if wondering why I was not also doing it. This kind of sounds like a little kid's first D&D session, like they were 4 years old or 5 years old or something. I have the little gauntlet of Kringledoof. If you get that reference, you win a brownie point. Game is boring. Lol, random. I the dragon type stuff. Ugh. Tune out. Occasionally come back when someone wants me to cast a spell. Bang the host's sister after the game is over. Isn't that positive? I'd say, God bless it. What? Can you tell us some more context here? We need more context. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA back at it again, checking in after the vid. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and if you have a best experience, please let us know, because a lot of these were pretty rough and bad around the edges, but not everything has to be bad. Sometimes you could have a really good experience, and we want to hear about those too, because celebrating is caring. We love you all, be safe, be happy, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.